Damn, shit, there's nothing here.
Hello and welcome back to Talking Shit
With a yank.
and a Brit.
That was
Hello.
beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Could you just sing for the entirety of our conversation today? Sing everything.
I can try. It's the musical episode. How have you been, Catherine?
Oh my god. I've been all right. How are you?
I'm very well. Quite swell.
We're gonna have a talking shit with the yank and a Brit musical.
Doody-doo.
All right, we'll get on writing that. It's gonna be on Broadway.
That's coming up on our 100th episode.
So in about 3 years. Actually, doing the math at this rate, like 90 more weeks, 87 more weeks if we
Hey,
keep up at a weekly pace.
that's quick math. Well done.
Thanks.
I'd
I
be
went to
going.
public school. Oh, anyway. How have you been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. It's been an all right week. Not really much to report. The weather's quite warm here.
Warmer than here, which is a bit shocking.
As you can see, I'm sweating because our houses are not built for heat.
Yeah, I can't see. I think you just actually kind of look like you're glowing again. Can't see the beads of sweat.
It's just a
But
sheen of sweat this time.
so dewy. Yeah, you guys, air conditioning, I remember, is very uncommon, particularly for homes. But I used to laugh too because we would be walking, kind of on the high street or, in London or something. In the window stickers would, in addition to advertising like the hours and stuff, would also say air conditioning inside.
We have aircon here. Come in.
Yeah, like that's a selling point for people, which made me laugh because it's pretty standard here.
Right, show off.
It's bad for the environment, I think.
It is
I
actually,
don't know
yeah.
for sure, but it seems like it would be.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, everything's bad for the environment these days, right?
Yeah, it's true. It is.
How's your
Cows.
week been? Cows, yeah.
It's been fine. I also don't have a lot to report. Just, work
Yeah.
and then playing so hard. Work hard, play hard, bruh. Just kidding. I'm so lame. But I know you had kind of a long drive for work, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I went up to Leicester for a
The
client meeting.
cheese.
Leicester cheese, yeah. Leicestershire cheese. And it was a really long drive, and I binged a whole podcast series. It was fabulous.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you've been listening to lately, but real quick, I do just want to say, like, the word Leicester to me, among other names in your country, it should be pronounced Leicester.
It should, yeah. And to be fair, whenever I type it in my head, I say Leicester so that I remember how to spell it.
Yep. It's ridiculous. I struggle so hard. Horse ham. Crowborough. Anyway, what are you listening to?
Well, okay, so the one I binged is called The 13th Step by NHPR, which is New Hampshire Public Radio. And to be honest, a lot seems to go on there. I've listened to quite a few that are New Hampshire.
I honestly didn't know they had their own, like, I know there's NPR and then there's MPR for Minnesota, but so it makes sense that there is New Hampshire, but interesting.
Well, it's called The 13th Step, and it's all about basically tales of sexual assault in the like addiction recovery space.
Mhm.
And it's obviously the 13th step because it's the 12-step program, like with AA.
Right. Mhm.
And it's commonly known that the 13th step is when basically men take advantage of women when they're in a vulnerable place and things like that. But it's really interesting.
I don't mean to laugh, that's actually horrifying, but just,
It
"Oh,
is,
if I'm at
yeah.
my 13th step, so I'm gonna get assaulted."
Yeah. But yeah, really fucking interesting. I'd highly recommend. And there's also, have you listened to Bear Brook?
No. I don't know if I'm
That's
familiar.
fucking brilliant. That's again, that was recommended because I've listened to Bear Brook season 1 and season 2.
Is
Um,
it fiction?
no, it's like true crime.
Oh, okay. Love
Um,
that.
season 1 was brilliant, and season 2 just came out, and again was pretty good. But it's reported by a guy called Jason Moon, and he's just a really good like investigative journalist. Um,
Got a
and
nice voice.
yeah, got a really nice voice, and he's like really respectful. Season 1, I can't even remember what
I
it's
added it
about
to my
now.
list, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, give them a go. They're really good. And then another one I was listening to was Believe in Magic with Jamie Bartlett,
Believe in magic.
and it's a BBC podcast. Again, really interesting story about a girl who supposedly had a life-threatening brain tumor, and she sets up a charity with her mum called Believe in Magic, and they raise loads of money to help people. And there's lots of twists and turns on the way, and all is
Mm.
not what it seems.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned that one to me. I still haven't started it yet, but yeah, I'm really interested in listening to that one.
Yeah, that's really good. How about you? What do you got for me?
So I know I've mentioned it a few times. I've been really into normal gossip,
You have mentioned that, yeah.
which I learned not too long ago when I told her about it that my friend Lauren actually already told me about it.
Oh,
And my
really?
response to her when she told me, I guess, was, "Why aren't you listening to our podcast?" Because I don't know if you knew this, but there's this other podcast. Excuse me. But anyway, so she told me about it a while ago, and then I probably kept it in my head and stumbled across it and thought that I was the one who discovered it. But no, it's really interesting. It's literally just as it sounds. It's like people write into the host with like a friend of a friend of a friend of just like some really kind of interesting, dramatic, but not super harmful gossip about regular people. And I didn't think I would be that interested in it, but some of the stuff is just like, oh my God.
Really?
Yes, I highly recommend it. I highly
Awesome, I'll try
recommend it.
that. That reminds me of another one I listened to ages ago. They don't do it anymore. Um, it's called Gossip Mongers, and
Ooh.
it was originally 3 people, like 3 comedians. Where again, yeah, they get like members of the public to send in like gossip but from like when they were at school, and just like it's the craziest shit that like the most unbelievable stuff, like just crazy stories that went around school or like back in their hometown and stuff, and absolutely hilarious.
I love it. I'm definitely giving that one a go once I'm through all of the normal gossip stuff because I feel like I don't drive very far for very long or really most days, so it takes me a while to listen to even an episode, but I just found it like it's just listening to some people's benign stuff is just actually really funny
Yeah,
and
it's
made
so
me think
good.
that probably I'm a bit of a gossip. I don't know about you, but I think I am.
I don't think I'm a gossip, but I love hearing other people's gossip. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I think that's how I am too. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll tell friends, you know, the tea, not that I have any. It's usually work stuff and it's usually telling like my my work friend the tea, but which is also probably really boring if I tried to tell it to my friends. They would be like if I sat here and told you about some of the work stuff going on, you'd be like, "Neat, we can't use this on the podcast. It's so boring." Uh, but it's interesting when you're kind of involved, I guess.
Yeah. I remember a really random bit of gossip from my school years. There was this girl, and I can't even remember her name now, but the rumor was that she had 2 arseholes. And literally
Oh my god.
everyone, she was just known as like the two arsehole girl. Like, there's probably no truth to it, but
Oh my god, that poor girl.
I
And also,
know.
like, it's not even like no one that's we know it's not true.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of gossipy now, but so I went to a pretty small school. I want to say there was probably 30 kids in my grade, and maybe like the whole school had 200 kids, like high school. Um, and I went there for almost all of my school years, except for the last year of school, my senior year. And I think because it was small, because we all had known each other for a really long time, and it was really clicky, my grade thought it would be really fun to do this dick thing where they basically all agree to vote for this girl who's kind of unpopular and weird and no one liked and got bullied a lot for like our homecoming royalty. And so that was
Oh.
like going around, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Have you guys seen the movie Carrie? Like, let's not be dicks. Let's not be the stereotypical shit you see in the, teen movies
It's like She's All
that,
That.
yeah, something like that.
Mm.
And Um, so what happened is like enough people did vote for her that she did win, but the school administration was like, "We know this is a joke, so sorry, kiddo, you don't get to be queen or whatever it was,"
What?
and gave it to the person who got the second most votes, who was like another popular girl, um, because they're like, "Yeah, she legitimately would win. That we know for sure this girl didn't, and it was a joke."
But did
And
the
I just
girl that
remember
got
being at the
joke voted
dance.
for, did she know that she won as a joke?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think
That's
she knew she won, and I think they were like, "We think this is a joke," and so she was. I remember at the dance, she was just sitting in the bathroom crying,
oh my
and I felt really bad for
God.
her.
I think
Yeah,
that's
it was really
worse.
fucked up. Yeah, I agree.
Like, the teacher should have just said, "Yeah, take it." Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, but I could imagine what the school, my classmates would have done when she got up there. I could
Yeah.
see why they did it, but I just don't think they needed to even say. They could have just said, "We're going to actually give it to the second place winner," and not even tell anybody that she won.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
So stupid.
Well
Yeah.
done, guys. Way
Hmm.
to break a girl's heart. Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
I know. I felt really bad. Just we were horrible. I mean, there were times when I was probably horrible and had people were horrible to me too. It sucked.
Same.
Um, but it's also I know that part of that is just being in school.
Yeah,
I can't
school's not
remember any
fun.
specific gossip though. I mean, there are parts of it that are kind of fun and you can look back on, but for the most part, it's just like we're all a bunch of assholes, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
full of
mean, you're making fun of a
hormones.
kid with warts and
God, I'm sorry.
well, I will have to give those some of those podcasts a listen and I'll report
Mm,
back, but you let me know what you think about normal gossip.
I will, yeah, I'll give that a listen and let you know. And speaking of gossip,
Ooh, do we have some?
well, there's something going on at the moment here in the UK with one of our TV presenters. I don't know if you've heard anything about it. Philip
Maybe.
Schofield.
Okay, so like I have seen his name on like headlines and in some tweets, but I did never like go any further than that. But he's kind of like he's got like gray hair, kind of just
Yeah.
like looks like a guy, right?
Mm-hmm. So he's like Silver
Okay, yeah, tell me more.
Fox. Okay, so to give you a bit of background, he has presented our show called This Morning, which is like our breakfast time everyday TV show
Like
for
Good
like
Morning
20
America,
years. Yeah.
that sort of thing.
But yeah, it's not like a sort of news panel show. It's more like, I don't know, just loads of random shit on there and like cooking segments and agony aunt segments and they interview
So maybe
celebrities
like
and shit like
some
that.
current events, but mostly like kind of just human interest pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
Got it.
he's done that for years and years and years, and he's been always been very popular. And it's him and another female presenter called Holly Willoughby, and they're sort of
Hmm.
everyone loved them. He so basically, I think it was last year or the year before he came out as gay, and great,
Hmm.
well done for him. He was married to his
Hmm.
wife for years, but it all seemed very amicable and blah blah blah. Everyone said he was a hero for coming out, and all that jazz.
Sure.
Um, However, he has taken a fall from grace. And let me
Oh,
tell
no.
you, like, this is all over our news. You cannot get away from it. I don't read the news, but it's all over fucking social media as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Are people talking about it in, like, your social circles?
Not really.
Okay, so it's not like you can't escape it bad, but you even if you avoid the news, you're still aware of it.
Yeah. So basically, what's happened is he took a break from presenting the show for a little while, and it turned out that the reason he took a break was because his brother was on trial for, I believe, child porn
Oh,
or
no.
paedophilia.
Hmm.
Um, and I think he was found guilty. Not sure. Anyway, he comes
Okay.
back. Then it's now come out that they had a runner on the show who I think when he started, see, I don't actually know the details. I probably should have researched this a little bit more.
Yeah, that's okay. You can correct yourself next time.
Yeah. So I think the runner started when he was like 14 or something. And when the guy was 16, Philip Schofield, who, bearing in mind, I think is probably in his 60s now,
Okay.
has been having a secret affair with this young runner for years.
Oh, God. Oof.
Yeah. So he has been sacked by ITV, which is the channel he works for. He also presented other shows on that show as well.
Yeah.
There's been like a huge fallout from it. Like other celebrities and presenters are like sticking their oar in and saying what a prick he was, and
Ugh.
others coming out and defending him. He's done like this big interview where it's like, to be fair, his life is falling apart. He's like lost his job. Like the
Yeah.
media are like fucking hounding him. And yeah, it's like, I don't know, so much fucking drama around it. But as far as I can tell, it's morally questionable,
Yeah.
but nothing illegal actually happened.
Yeah. That's the
So
gray area, like, question about those kinds of things, isn't it?
that's it. I mean, some people are saying that, he must have groomed him and
Mhm. Or, maybe it did start a
things
little
like
bit sooner,
that.
but maybe this I don't know how old this guy is now, but maybe he wants to protect him a little bit. I'm guess like, did they did something happen between them and he disclosed, or did someone else who, like, knew about it reveal it or what, do you know?
I don't actually know how it came out. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just going fucking mental. They've done like this big apology and
Yeah. Like, where are you kind of it sounds like you're very much like, "Yeah, yeah, okay, let's move on." Um, and I think I was gonna ask if, like, the age of consent in England is like, 16. I'm guessing it is at
mhm.
least 16.
Yep.
So you're right, it's, like, kinda morally, and then there's these thoughts about grooming, and he's in a position of power. I think that's probably the big one, because even if this kid was
Mm,
much older, like, it's Philip Schofield, is there but, I guess I would wanna know if that's what this person is kind of alleging right now. It sounds like just based on what you know, it's just the sheer fact that they were in a relationship and he was, when they first started, supposedly really, really young,
yeah.
but not like not illegally young. But yeah, I think it's just kind of like 16-year-old versus a 60-year-old. That's a really really big fucking difference in age
Mm, yeah.
and life stages.
It is, yeah. But it happens, like, like Stephen Fry. He is, I think in his 60s or 70s now, and when he married his boyfriend, he was like mid-20s.
Mhm.
Um, there's lots of other large
I
age
feel
gap
like people don't
relationships.
I feel like people talk about it like, I'm sure you've heard the jokes about Leonardo DiCaprio kind
Yeah.
of ditching all his women after they hit a certain
Yeah,
age,
after
like
they're
25.
25. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, we've talked about that, but I also feel like sometimes we don't even bat an eye when it's like a younger woman and an older man. But it seems like
Mm,
if it's reversed or even, two men, then it's like, we're going to talk about this.
yeah, like
Feels
witch
really unfair,
hunt.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be curious to hear. I mean, it sounds like probably it'll fade away or maybe something else big will happen, but
I'm wondering if there is more to the story because there's been such a huge,
fallout.
um, yeah, such a huge fallout from it, and it was like when it came out, like it was like a really serious statement from ITV, like that just seemed over the top from what
Mhm.
happened, and I'm like, is there more to this, or are
Could
other
be.
things going to come out? Do they know more than we do? Who knows? I'll
Yeah.
keep you posted.
Yeah, please do. I wonder if
Mm.
they have like I doubt it, but I suppose they could have been like it's just against our policy for this sort of like
Yeah.
relationship, but I bet not. I'll have to see if I can read more about it too. I mean, I have some, I guess, gossip as well, but now I'm trying to decide which one I want to tell you about
Oh,
because one is maybe a little bit more related to that, and the other one is just like really current. So, what would you prefer?
oh, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I suppose just for a palate cleanser and maybe a little bit more humor, I'll go with the current one and save the other hot goss for another day.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
because it's kind of more sad and gross. Uh, all right. So you are aware of former President Donald Trump.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. And since he's, no longer been president, there's been some stuff about some stuff that he did and whether it was problematic or criminal, and even was like civilly found guilty for, I can't remember the charges, but like basically he wasn't found civilly guilty of rape, but like sexual assault of this woman.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't there
And
a whole
then there
Stormy
was some,
Daniels thing as well? Or was that what that was?
that was a, that's a different woman.
Okay.
There's so many women.
Why am I not
This
surprised?
was yeah, Jean E. Carroll, I think is her name, the one who sued him civilly. Um, but then I do think the Stormy Daniels stuff is being investigated because there's some like concern about like misappropriation of campaign funds and stuff to like pay her off, I think.
Mm,
But there was an indictment for some stuff out of maybe New York. Recently, he was indicted again. And I did look this up because I wanted to be sure that I knew what the language was. But it sounds like indictment is the same for both the UK and the US. So
yes.
everybody listening should kind of know what that means. And then I also was like, I'm dumb because our criminal justice system is based on England. So, um, but yeah, he was indicted because you also heard about these whole like confidential document stuff?
Yeah, so I heard he got raided or something. That was quite a
Yeah.
while ago, wasn't it?
So yes, there was like this whole he's got these documents, and then it was kind of like lots of people do it, and then like Biden had some, and maybe even like his Trump's vice president Pence had some, and like blah blah blah. And then of course Hillary Clinton and her emails before Trump
Oh,
was
yeah.
elected. That was like kind of related to confidential information and personal use and stuff.
Yeah.
And so Trump kind of campaigned on we got to like secure our confidential documents and make sure people can't do this. Well, so Mar-a-Lago, his home in Florida, did get raided and it was revealed he had all these documents. Well, an investigation followed. And this week, hold on, I need a drink. Sorry, I have a little bit of a cold. Okay. So it's like 37 counts of different like having confidential documents, hiding them, lying about them, and like 100 years in prison, maximum sentence if he's found guilty of these things.
Wow.
And I think the thing I wanted to read to you, I didn't want to go through the whole indictment because it's actually a lot of legal jargon,
Mhm.
kind of boring, but it's interesting. And so someone summarized this tweet or summarized this indictment in kind of their own words on Twitter. It's really funny. The person's name is at Metro Adlib. So I'm just going to read you what they wrote.
Okay.
This was a deliberate and concerted effort to remove the most sensitive docs the country has and keep them and show them to people at his leisure while acknowledging that he is neither supposed to have them or show them. He haphazardly stored the docs any damned where, including in a goddamn bathroom shower. And there was a picture of this bathroom
What?
with all of these boxes. Yes.
Wow.
They were chucked into some random room in Mar-a-Lago, and occasionally the boxes, because there were so many, would tumble down in top secret documents. Documents having to do with defense plans, military campaigns, nukes, you name it. Documents clearly marked top secret and confidential, and two other designations I'd never heard of before today. but which apparently means super duper double pinky swearsies realsies secret. These These documents would just spill out onto the goddamn floor and lie there exposed for all to see, just naked and bearing all to the world like a national security full Monty. And as if that weren't enough, the archives, the National Archives, which is an administrative agency responsible for like storing documents, right? Like
Mhm.
historical stuff.
Yep.
The National Archives asked this motherfucker 11 times to give all this stuff back, and 45 would be all, I gave you everything I got. Damn, shit, there's nothing here. And then he would have his aides move the boxes. He would travel with the boxes, and some member of his family, Ivanka or Melania or Lara, also knew he had the boxes, but he would travel with them because that was presumably the only way he could make sure he kept them. But
What
what's
the
wilder still is that this motherfucker had lawyers who were like, fam, for serious. You need to turn in anything that you have that is a file and belongs to the US government. Dead ass. And 45 was all to the lawyers, to these officers of the court. Couldn't you all just tell them there's nothing here? And wouldn't it be better if we just kind of like burned all this shit, if it were here, hypothetically speaking? And one lawyer was all, here's the
Sorry.
picture. No, that's why I wanted to read it. So one lawyer was all like, girl. Then he was like, you got the subpoena on May 11th. I'm coming through on the first of the month to run through that whole shit, and I'm going to make sure there is nothing that belongs to these goddamn United Ass States in this garish monstrosity you pretend is a house. So 45 has his body man and his aides move the boxes again, just like scores of boxes. He has them move a gazillion boxes again to hide them from his lawyers. And
Wow.
then, and then the night before the day his lawyer is supposed to come through, he called him and was like, hi, dog. You still coming tomorrow? I was sitting here talking to the homies and we're like, we don't know why you're coming. Why are you coming? And the lawyer was like, presumably deep sigh here. I already told you I'm coming through to move the whole house and make sure I can tell them we complied with the subpoena. I'm going to make sure you don't have anything you're not supposed to, okay? And 45 was like, oh, right. Cool, 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 cool. Come on through. And then he made more people move more boxes.
Fucking
And
hell.
so it goes on and on for a while, but I think the rest of it is like his lawyer came, basically it was like, oh yeah, like show him what he needs. And then he looks around and finds 38 things that were top secret. And it's like, honest to God, I think they left the stuff there deliberately so it wouldn't look like they cleaned house. Lawyer comes back and he's like, what's up? How we looking? As if he didn't just direct everyone to clean up his house and hide these things. The lawyer shrugs and is like, is this all you have? And I'm going to bring this lady through and tell her this is all you have. And then we're going to take this document and certify it with our names on it with an official ass piece of paper that I'm tendering to the feds, and we don't lie to the feds. So is this it, Donald? And 45 is like, on my mama. So the lawyer brings in the other lawyer. We're good. Put your bar ID, sworn statement. We've complied. We're doing this. And then basically it comes out. They take it to the National Archives and they're like, yeah, he has way more than that. So this is obviously a very paraphrased description of what was in the indictment, but I just thought it was so funny.
Wow. Oh, Donald, you naughty boy.
Yeah, and I was just curious because, like, a part of me is kind of like, man, I'm not surprised. Whatever. I hope he gets held accountable. But like, looking at the things are so confidential that there's parts of the like filing system that they have that they can't even reveal to the public because it's that confidential. And this
Wow.
idiot just was like showing people, like, check this out. I'm not supposed to have it, but I do. It's kind of a big
Oh,
deal, but don't tell anybody. It's a
doesn't
secret.
fucking surprise me. Such an imbecile.
Yeah. And so, like, now he's still trying to run for president again too. And my concern is like people are gonna be like, I don't care, it's fine. I really hope not. And if that
So,
happens, then I guess we deserve whatever happens to us. But
yeah. So this is my question. So he's been indicted. So is there like a warrant out for his arrest or?
so probably the same thing will happen that happened with the other indictment is like they work it out because he's such a public figure. It's going to be really hard for him to
Mm,
flee.
mm.
Work it out. They go appear in court, and he gets basically released on his own recognizance. Probably they say you can't leave the country. Blah blah blah. But
Right.
like he's not going to be able to hide anywhere. Like we know this.
No. He's too
So,
orange to be missed.
yeah. Yeah. And so it'll probably just be worked out that he goes, appears, and pleads not guilty, and then it goes from there. But yeah, I mean, like,
Wow.
probably a warrant is issued, but it's kind of like he's gonna arrange his surrender, and he'll get booked and released pretty much.
Send him to prison.
Mhm. Lock
Sick
him
of
up.
him.
Me too.
Not
Me too.
surprised. I remember when he was president, and like we hear a bit about, the US president, or, something crazy's happening overseas or whatever.
Yeah.
But with fucking Trump, it was just all that was in our news.
Mhm.
And it was like it was exhausting, and I just cannot comprehend of like how much of an idiot he is. Like the shit he would say.
Yeah.
I was just like, how is this man running the United States of America? It
It
blew
was a
my
really scary
mind.
4 years.
Mm.
Yeah. I legitimately thought he was gonna win again, and I, like, was like, "What do I do if that happens? Is like, do
You
we move
moved
to
to
England then?"
England, yeah.
Yep. But I imagine it probably overshadowed any, like, relevant local news for you guys, 'cause everything over here
Yeah,
it's
I
just like
mean, to be honest, at the time we had fucking Boris Johnson in as well, so it was just two fucking blonde-haired twats running both our
yep.
countries, basically. So
"You think
yeah.
it's bad here, folks? Check out what's going on in America. Let's watch this dumpster fire instead."
Yeah. It's probably all a what do you call it? Like a ruse to
Yeah. Everything
move
is
the
just a
attention.
smokescreen. Yeah.
Yes, that's it, a smokescreen.
So while that was happening, that's when your NHS was deteriorating.
Yes, exactly. And then COVID happened, and we were like, "Oh fuck, we've got these two idiots running the place. What are we gonna do?"
I know, we're so screwed. Um, Speaking of the NHS real quick, I in, like, the listen after our episode was published, I cringed when I heard myself say that we go to the dentist twice a month. I just wanna clear the record and say that's not accurate. Um, some people might. It's twice a year. We're supposed to go and get, like, insurance covers cleanings and stuff like that, not twice a month, but
Yeah, I did
I
think
know
at the
you
time,
respon
I was
"Ooh,
like,
no wonder your
"Wow,
teeth are so nice."
yeah, fucking hell."
I was like,
Sounds like
"Fuck, no, why
overkill,
did I
but
say that?" Yeah, that would be.
okay, so I saw a really interesting article this week about a woman who is 108 years old. Man,
Damn, good for her.
exactly. And she looks good for 108.
What
Right.
is her secret? Oh, it's a little bit
I can't see that.
eh.
Yeah, she looks good. And so she was asked what her secret was. And in this article, it says she revealed some rather surprising advice onto how to live a long life. So
What
Ada Daniel, 108, says the secret to longevity is to raise dogs instead of children.
yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. And I personally think she has a very valid point.
Yep. I don't disagree, even though I don't currently have a dog, but I think the overarching thing is the kid thing.
Yeah. So I thought it'd just be cool to talk about our opinions on this, really. And because obviously we are childless at the moment,
Mhm.
child
Yeah.
free.
Yep.
Um, and as for my opinion, I don't think I want kids.
Has that
For
always been true?
no, but I think I only wanted kids because I am a woman, and society has trained me to think that as a woman, you get married, you settle down, you have babies.
Mhm. It's true. Yeah.
Hmm. And it wasn't until I was faced with that reality that I thought, hold on a minute, I have a choice.
You do.
I do. Um, and also, I've never been like hugely maternal. I'm not one of these women that see a baby and go, like my ovaries don't do fuck all. If I see a puppy, I'm like, oh my god, a little puppy! I just want to squeeze its little head. But a baby, I'm like, get away from me.
I think I just figured out why you and I are friends. Because you legitimately just described the things that I have said and done.
Really?
In fact, I'll go on a walk with my friend Lydia, and she will be like, "Oh my god, look at this cutie pie." And I'll be like, "I know, so cute." And she's talking about the baby in the stroller, and I'm talking about the dog walking next to the baby in the stroller. So,
Uh,
yep.
oh, good.
Anyway, say more about what you said about not feeling maternal, because I've said that too, and I suspect that if you've ever said that to someone who maybe doesn't know you that well, the response may be, "Oh, well, that would change once you have your own," or yes, you
Mhm.
would," stuff like that.
Yeah. Or I've had people clearly judge me for it and think I'm cold-hearted
Yeah.
and not a proper woman.
Well, you're not.
Oh, clearly not. I've not pushed out a womb goblin yet, so.
No, we're very improper women. Same, and it's weird because I work with kids. I enjoy, like, talking with kids and working with kids and even, like, being around with brown kids, like, I truly
Hmm.
do,
Yeah.
but never has it has nothing to do with the fact that, like, I want my own, that I think I'd be a really good mother because I don't. I just like, they're just people that I like, and they're kind of fun because they're
Y-
less serious and, like, I can play pretend and it's not
Yeah.
weird and I can act like a weirdo, and, like, kids are accepting of that, so I don't mind it, but then there are also times where I'm like, "Ugh, can't be asked to, like, spend time with these kids right now."
Mm.
So, yeah,
And also, in that situation, you're not responsible for them. You're not
right,
responsible for raising them, giving them potential traumas, and paying for
right.
them, and feeding them,
Yep,
and
mhm,
yeah. Also, I think like we're in such a difficult time in the world right now. Like shit is up in the air. Like the planet
yeah,
is burning. We're in a global climate
literally.
crisis. People like Donald Trump are becoming president, and AI is potentially going to take over the world.
Yeah.
So it's just not really an environment I would want to bring human beings into at the moment, really.
I agree. I think I'd never envisioned myself having kids from as long as I can remember. I think I always kind of said I don't want kids. I don't
Mm,
want to get married, and of course it's always like that'll change when you get older. You'll change your mind, and yes,
yeah.
I am married, but I have never once wavered on having children, and for a lot of the same reasons you've said. I don't I worry about like my capacity, I and my maternalism. I worry about like the things that I could do or influence them in certain ways. Like I very much
Hmm.
want people to be functional humans. I also enjoy my freedom.
Yeah.
Um, but I also like nothing actually stresses me out more than thinking about like the next few years, particularly with climate change and,
Mm,
you know, food, water shortage, over, all of those things, the terrible
yeah.
things that are happening. And thinking about myself having to live through that and then knowing that a potential child would have to live through it and like exist in a world that's even like harder than it is for us feels like that gives me anxiety and I don't have a child.
Yeah.
Thinking
Exactly.
about the child that I don't have and won't have having to survive that is horrible.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And like the cost of it as well. Like you said, like things change completely. I've seen it with, friends and family members that have had kids. Your
Mhm.
life is completely turned upside down.
Yep.
Your whole world revolves around this little person that you're bringing up. On average, it costs $310,605 to raise a child
Ugh.
currently.
How
That
much in pounds?
is crazy. I don't know how much it is. I think it's like 250 grand, something like that.
Yeah. I and it's like, that's the average.
Yeah, that's the average.
So,
So
like, you have a kid who wants to be in dance or has special needs or is sick or something, or
mm.
twins or multiple kids,
Oh
like,
my god, can you imagine
it's a
having
lot.
twins?
No.
Wow. So that's also something I'm scared of is that twins, like, do run in my family, and it would be just
Oh,
my
yeah.
fucking luck that I would have twins. I'd be like, "I
Yep.
don't want this one baby, and now I've got 2. What
Mhm.
do I even do? One on each tit? I don't know. I don't know how it works."
I need someone to hold this baby while I hold my other baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the stories, though, where people are like, "We were pregnant, had a baby," and then the doctor's like, "The other one's coming," and we're like, "What do you mean?" Because no
Yeah.
one like, I don't know why they didn't know or it just that whatever, but I'm just like, "You're
That would
fucked."
be my nightmare. I
Yeah.
also, like, remember being a teen and even in my, like, 20s, like, the fear of getting pregnant was
Mm.
unbelievable. And, like, you hear those stories of women that didn't know they were pregnant and, like, went to the
Gave
toilet
birth
and
on a
had a
toilet.
baby. My god, that is genuinely my nightmare, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'd hate that so much.
Yeah.
Can
Well,
you
I think
imagine?
I hear about
Oh.
no, and I hear about just, like, pregnant like, giving labor and delivery when you know you're pregnant, and you're not even trying to do that, like, no drugs, natural birth, or home birth, you're at the hospital, and, like, all the stuff that happens to you or
Mhm,
could happen to you is so horrifying to me that
mhm,
I and then afterwards in the recovery, it sounds horrible, and I
mhm,
just that scares me, and then, like, I don't believe I would be someone who's like, "I love being pregnant. I feel so beautiful, and I feel so
mm.
Mother Earth, like, hippie flower child, I love it." I just can't get enough of it. I first of all, I think that's those people are liars, but also I if they're not, that would not be me.
Yeah, like, it's weird, a part of me does wanna know what it's like to be pregnant because it's something my body can do,
Mhm.
so I'd like to experience it in one sense, but I don't want the child at the end of it, so
Yeah. Well, I guess there's options for you.
so I have jokingly offered to be surrogates for people. I
Yeah.
don't know if I could actually do it. It's quite a
I
big
think the crappy thing is it's not like you can be like, "Never mind." I
Yeah.
mean, I guess you can in some ways, maybe, under a lot of circumstances, but, like, at some point, you can't be like, "Never mind." I
Yeah.
don't no, I don't wanna
I don't
I don't
wanna
wanna
do this
do this.
anymore.
Don't wanna do it anymore. I just want it to stop now.
I'm just gonna end this process. So
Yeah,
sorry guys,
just push a
but
button, I'm out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems to be a more and more popular choice now. Like people are not having kids until they're sort of mid to late 30s now. That tends to be the the
Oh,
going
those geriatric
age.
pregnancies.
Yeah, that is mad as
So
well,
fucked
isn't
up.
it?
I know. It's so fucked up. I do have an interesting fact for you. This is really
Ooh.
something that, kinda blew my mind. So apparently and I someone sent me, like, a meme of this on Instagram, and I didn't fact check it, so it could not be true. I recognize
Yeah.
that. But apparently, like, when you and I were fetuses developing, in our mothers, we had all of the eggs that we will
Yes.
have for our entire life, which means that I was an egg when my mom was a fetus in my grandma's belly.
Yeah.
Not belly,
Isn't
whatever. You
that
guys know what I mean.
mental?
So I was, like, in my grandma. I do think that's mental, to be honest, and I
That's
made me think about, like, oh, generational and blood trauma really is a thing. Look at the science behind
mm,
that, so
yeah, 100%. That's crazy. Well, I mean, there's a new
but
thing now called DINK, which is
oh,
double
yeah.
income, no kids,
Mhm.
and that sounds wonderful.
Well, I guess that would technically be Nigel and I, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Dual income, no children. However, I mean, and this was kind of the other part of the conversation too, like, that what was her name? Ada, the old lady?
Mhm.
Ada. She said raise dogs. So we had, cats. We have one cat right now. Rip Momo and Milo. And I think there's people who think like, pets are fine and stuff, but it's not the same as having kids. Or, pets are fine, but they're just practice for kids. And then once you get a kid, like your pet kind of doesn't matter anymore. And, pets are a responsibility too. And it's a lot. And I think about how much we've put into, I mean, you are very well aware of what, kind of
Mm,
has gone in our lives with our pets. Um, it was a lot. And like we had
yeah.
to change our lives a little bit. And it was
Mm.
so expensive dealing with some of the issues that came up. Um, can you imagine if that was a human?
Exactly. Like, that's one of the things I was really conscious of when I got my dog Jess. Like, the burden of being responsible for this little fluffy thing
Hmm.
was, like, overwhelming. Like, beforehand, I was like, "Yeah, I'll just get a dog. It'd be lovely. I really want a dog. Like, I love dogs." And then actually when I got her, I was like, "Oh, wow." Like, the responsibility is heavy. Like, I've gotta keep
Yeah.
this thing alive and, like,
Hmm.
feed
Yeah.
her on time and take her for walks and, like,
Yep.
her life is now my responsibility. So,
Fully.
yeah,
Yeah.
having that, but a little human that can't even fucking walk or talk or, wipe
Hmm.
its own arse. I mean, the dog can't wipe its own arse, but she scrapes it along the
Can.
the grass.
She can.
She does.
And like the unconditional love from a dog or a pet or a cat, like there's no guarantee when your kid's older that you
That's
will have,
it.
like, because you hear about kids who maybe cut off their parents and stuff or kind of estranged from them because of shit that happened when they're growing up or just the
Mm,
relationship being problematic. And like, I feel like I've, all the reasons for wanting kids that I've heard people say feel very selfish to me too. And this is not to offend anybody that I know and love and care about who are having kids, want kids, had kids, whatever. It just, if you think about it, I want a family. I want someone to like take care of me when I get older. All those things. It's actually really self motivated, and I
mm,
struggle with finding a good reason. I can't even think of a good reason that people would say to have children that isn't self motivated. Because I don't think I've ever heard someone who's like, I want to have a child who can maybe do something good for the world. Like, I
mm.
don't think I've ever heard anybody say that.
No. You make a very valid point.
Yeah.
It's funny
So,
actually because I've had when I was speaking to my brother about this, and he was like, "Who's gonna take care of you when you get old?" I said, "Well, the care home that I'm
yeah,
in at
bro.
the" Yeah, either you or the care home that we're all ultimately gonna end up in anyway. They're
Hmm.
gonna look after me. My fucking children, if I had them, wouldn't look after me anyway once I
Wouldn't want
reach
that for him.
that age.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, I mean
No,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't either.
yeah. The thing is, never say never. Maybe I'll change my mind one day.
Hmm.
I doubt it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, same. I don't think I will change my mind either. I feel like at this point at my age, it's kind of like the reasons that I've listed will never change because I'll never be able to hypothetically experience pregnancy or hypothetically experience
Mm,
birth that makes me think like, "Oh, that wasn't so bad." And turns out maybe I am maternalistic and the world isn't a shit show. Like none of those things are going to change.
that's it.
So,
I mean, if the world completely turns around in the next 5 years, then it's very unlikely.
all bets are off. Yeah, I agree. I you know, You have dogs too, and something that came up that I wanted to talk about, maybe we could just do quickly now. I learned recently, just in my experiences of, Momo and his vet adventures.
Mm.
The vet that we were working with, told us about. She studied at Cambridge, I guess, for a period,
Oh wow.
and she talked a lot about kind of the differences in the UK versus the US around like veterinary care and like having pets. And like I think in the UK, like people have pet insurance. Like pet insurance is a huge thing, whereas like here a lot of people don't. It's kind of newer
Oh,
still.
really?
Yeah, and like the way that like veterinary medicine works there and kind of expectations on vets about like being available and accessible and probably a little more affordable for people are different than here. And like the things that they will do and like the research in pets. which I just thought was kind of interesting. And then, like, also just knowing you guys and, other people over there, family members who truly, truly love their dogs and their pets and their cats, and, like, their world revolves around them. Whereas here you could, I don't know, like, drive down the street and see the same dog chained up outside all day, every day,
Mm,
or, just kind of like they're kind of treated like objects or property.
yeah. That was something I noticed when I went to Australia as well. Is that a lot of people have, like, their dogs live in the garden, and I guess they're seen as guard dogs rather than pets.
Or family members, I guess.
Yeah, but I found it, like, really difficult to accept. I was like, "But
Yeah.
your your dog's sleeping outside, like, he's
Mhm.
cold, let him come in."
Mhm.
But they're just seen, and yeah, in a completely different way. But so what were the, like, differences in the veterinary care that she mentioned?
Well, I'm trying to remember specifically what she said, but I know she was talking about, like, kind of some of the things that the treatment that Momo needed, and, like, people, because, like, she worked at a university, and so, like, I think people could go to Cambridge to get stuff done that maybe either is, like, research based or maybe, like, subsidized for people, like, but also, like, research based.
Mhm.
And people would be bringing in animals that very much probably should be euthanized, just because it's like, this dog's quality of life is really bad, and we could certainly do something. Oh, do we have a little puppy in here now too?
Yeah, she just
Good
walked out.
timing. Um, like, quality of life's really bad, but, like, the owner's like, "I want you to do it," you know?
Mm,
Either it's because of, like, "I just wanna do everything I can for my cat, and I'm having a hard time letting go,"
mm,
or, just if you can fix it, fix it." And, like, her struggling with, like, "I really think this cat's time has come."
yeah,
And like, head of the program's like, "We gotta do it." So, you're gonna have to, like, perform this procedure even though, like, it's probably gonna not do anything, not, change anything it could even be worse.
mm,
So, like, in a good, and I think it's kind of like do everything you can sort of thing, but also people maybe really, because of how they feel about their pets, not understanding, like,
yeah,
that's the thing that I struggled with. Is, like, particular no one's gonna be being like, "My kid's not doing well, let's just put it down," you know? You
yeah,
can't do that, actually. But with pets, like, you are in a position to make that decision if it's not a natural cause
mhm,
or, like, a tragic injury accident or injury or something like that, and it's hard. It's hard to be the person to decide that something should die,
yeah,
um, and I didn't want to have to do that for either of my
no,
cats. It sucked, and, um, I think that I understand why someone might want to try to have everything done, like
yeah,
that. I'm
yeah,
assuming the best about
100%.
that person, but, like, at some point, we had to look at Momo and be like, "Let's not do anything else to him. It
No, that's
sucks."
it. It comes to a point where it, it comes down to their quality of life, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I remember when we put down my family dogs, and it was like the worst thing. But the vet said to us, like, when the first dog went, his back legs went,
Oh.
and so it was,
Yeah.
peeing and pooing all over the house, and you could see in his eyes he was
Yeah.
so embarrassed by it because he'd been
Yeah.
such a clean dog. And so took him to the vets, and they gave him, like, steroids, and they were like, this will probably help, but if it fails again, then you're going to have to make a decision, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it did fail again, but you could tell, like, the vet said, he was like, you'll know when they're ready. And I was like, I don't
Mhm.
think we will. Like, I love little Dukey. He'll be fine. Like, we'll just do everything we can.
Mhm.
But we did know, he would look at us and be like, this isn't how I want to be. I'm embarrassed. Like, I can't get up. I can't move. But it was still one of the hardest fucking things, like, as you say, to make that decision. Because we don't do that in any other part of our lives, as you say. Like, you wouldn't just put down a family member because
Nope.
their leg
The
doesn't
closest
work
is like
anymore.
deciding to, yeah, someone's been in a coma or a
Mm,
horrible accident and they're like, yeah, there's
turning off
like
the
no
life
brain
support.
activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
And that
even
has
then,
got to
that's
be, I think, the
questionable.
closest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's been times where people have come out of comas when they were meant to be brain dead, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's tricky. But I mean, it's weird. I mean, some vets here, um, I was reading about this couple actually that both used to be vets and they quit because they um basically they were saying that the sort of the industry in the UK is like seriously corrupt,
Oh,
and that a lot of vets will push medications and
mm,
treatments on animals that don't need it because they make a fuckload
money.
of money from it.
Right.
And they spoke out about it and got like, totally brought down
Blacklisted.
by, yeah,
Yeah.
blacklisted. And I do think a lot of vets are like that. I've been to vets before where, you're going for a minor problem and you come out spending hundreds of pounds
Yeah.
for an issue you didn't, really think was there.
But people trust them because they're the experts, right?
Exactly, yeah. But I now go to an amazing vet, and it's actually 40 minutes away from where I live.
Oh, worth it though,
It
I bet.
used to be closer, obviously, when I first
Yeah.
started going there, but I will not and I like pretty much all my friends go there with their pets as well because they are so genuine. And like I've been there before for stuff with Jess, and they just like didn't charge me. They're like, no, no,
Nice.
don't worry about it. Like, it was just a quick consultation. Don't worry. Whereas another vet, that would have been £100 consultation, and you would have
Hmm.
come out with
Just
fucking
walking in the door.
antibiotics and yeah. But they're
Yeah.
great there, so I recommend them to everyone. So I think it's a case of finding people that
Hmm.
genuinely care about animals rather than people that are in it for the dough.
Yeah, I think that's a legitimate concern here too, not only in like that industry, but other healthcare, dental, blah, blah, blah.
Mm,
We've been lucky in that, particularly since living here, like the vet that we were taking, and we still will, just because I like him, and he's like literally 2 minutes down the road. He's very much like, if there's nothing wrong with your cat, like, why would we? Because after Milo died, I took Momo and Lucy in to be like, they're older. I want some blood work done just to see. I want to make sure they don't have like kidney disease. And he's like, have you noticed any changes in behavior, eating, litter
mm.
box, anything like that? And he's like, no. And he's like, then why, like, why do you want to do this then? And I go, well, I just don't, I'm like really triggered by this. And he's like, okay, so that's more about you. I,
Yeah.
I will do an exam, like, but
Mm,
here's like what you watch for, right? And he's like,
yeah.
if you want to like avoid those things, use this food, do this. And I
Mm,
like really appreciated that. And then the other vet that we had to take Momo to, and we've taken Lucy to, they're a little bit more of like a hospital rather than just like a little,
right.
one vet guy.
Yeah.
They have like all the things. So like you go there because and that's where he referred us when Momo started having his issue. Um, and she very much was like, cats with this type of cancer usually have really poor outcomes. And I'm not the type of person who's like, let's try everything. We could do this and this, even if it's probably not going to make a difference. She's like, I've had to have that. Let's talk about keeping him comfortable and,
Mm,
this. But she's like, with Momo, I think we have a good shot. But of course, like, if you guys don't want to go through with that, and obviously we wanted to do whatever we could and really relied on the fact that she thought it was a good shot. And unfortunately, like, yeah, is a really aggressive cancer. So it
mm,
didn't quite work out. But I didn't once think that she was trying to like get us to do all of this stuff, to spend
yeah.
all of this fucking money, because it was a lot. And that's why I think pet insurance is good.
Hmm.
Even though the insurance industry is also bullshit. Um, but it's, and then, after we, we would take her to see him, and they would similarly be like, there's no charge on this. Don't worry about it. Like,
Mm,
especially in the past couple weeks, they were like, bring him in. We'll give him a shot of this. Don't worry about it. I loved that. Didn't love it, but like I appreciated it because it's also like pretty far away from us, even though it's not
mm,
really. It takes like half an hour to get there just based on traffic and stuff. And
yeah.
so, um, I thought that that's like kind of a, like you said, you just got to find the right one who you feel like you
Yeah.
can trust and they're genuine and actually care about animals too. Because I feel like there's probably some that don't.
Hmm.
Like we had a dog that my dad took to this vet in our hometown. That's where we took all our cats, and he was very kind of a gruff, no nonsense, like if it's not broke, don't fix it type of guy too.
Yeah.
But like, our dog had issues and he had lymphoma and the guy was like, "Meh, it's just like fatty lumps." And then our dog had seizures and my dad took him to a different vet and he's like, this is obviously cancer."
Really?
Obviously. So I was like, that
Wow.
guy sucked.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, the vets are human, really, aren't they? So some of them are going to be dickheads, and
Yeah.
some of them will actually care.
So I guess in some, have dogs, no kids.
There you go, people. That's our public
You heard
service
it here
announcement.
first.
And you'll live to 108.
I also don't know if I need that, but but I understand her sentiment.
Okay, well, have we got time for
Okay.
Am I the asshole?
You know you are, baby.
Hell yeah. Okay, so this week I think I've got a pretty clear cut one. Um,
All
but I'd
right.
like to know your opinion on whether this person is an asshole or not.
All right. I'll do my best.
Right. Am I the asshole for disposing my pads in my boyfriend's bathroom?
God.
Okay. My boyfriend and I have been together for about 3 months now, and this is the first time I've spent the night over at his flat while I was on my period. Since yesterday, I've been changing my pads in his bathroom, and each time I wrapped the used pad in a plastic wrapper and put it in the trash can.
Mm-hmm.
The trash can has a lid, and there's a plastic garbage bag in there, so the pad was touching nothing but the trash that was already inside.
Okay. Sounds good so far.
Yeah. I genuinely didn't think it was a big deal until my boyfriend took out the trash this morning and noticed the plastic wrappers in the bag. He knew they were the packaging for my pads because he had seen them before, and quite outraged, he asked whether my used pads were also in that bag. I told him yes, and he dropped the bag, calling me disgusting and telling me to take out the trash myself. I did, but then asked him where else I should have put my pads. He told me that I could have just kept them in my purse until I got home. I'm staying at his place for 3 nights because we both have some time off, and I wasn't going to keep my used pads in my bag for days on end. Imagine the smell. He stated that he didn't want my blood all over his trash and that I should find another way to dispose of my pads ASAP. I don't think my attempt of an explanation of why period blood isn't as disgusting as he thinks has got through to him, but he's quite set on his opinion. I think he was a bit childish because I don't understand how an adult straight man can be so disgusted by period blood, but when I texted my brother about it, he sided with my boyfriend. As I've
Okay.
been outnumbered, I wanted to see whether other people also believe what I did was an asshole move.
Oh, deep existential sigh. I think the only thing I can say is break up with your boyfriend.
Yep.
Your boyfriend thinks that your natural thing that every single woman does is so disgusting it shouldn't touch his trash. If that doesn't tell you that he, by extension, doesn't think that you're disgusting, particularly when menstruating, then I don't know what will.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not the asshole. He is 1000% the asshole. And so many men like your brother are like him. And it is so frustrating.
Mm-hmm. This is
Oh
something
my
that
fucking God.
happens to us every fucking month
Yeah.
from the age of like potentially 12 in some cases
Mm-hmm.
until we go through fucking menopause in
Yep.
our like, what, 40s, 50s.
Well, it depends.
It
But
depends
yeah.
on the person. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
get over it, guys.
Oh
Okay? I've had enough.
my God. I just like this is and I know so many men who are like this and like feel this way and it is so upsetting to me because it's just like no one is talking about like your weird puberty experiences like random ejaculations and hard-ons and, like, peeing all
Mm.
over the seat and, like, I just it's so unfair, and, like, by the way, that thing that you think is so disgusting is, like, what enables, like, you to, I guess
Exist.
yeah, and have yeah, like, you came out of that bloody, and, like, that's, like, how we have sex, and that's how I know I'm not pregnant, and I am so upset by this. I'm so mad you read this to me.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm not really mad at you, but I am mad.
Yeah, I just saw it and just thought, "What the fuck, mate?" Like, yeah, first opinion, dump this dickhead.
In her purse?
Like, yeah, I know! Like, what the fuck? Get a life, mate.
Yeah.
Just yeah, and I mean, the general
I hope the
consensus is exactly the same.
I mean, every single one better be the same, but I know that there's gonna be some men responding and probably will side with the boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I'm not even gonna read them though, because 'cause that'll get me really angry.
Oh god. I just ugh, so upsetting. So upsetting.
I know. Guys, look, we can't help it. Okay? We don't
No,
like it either,
no,
but it happens,
no, it
and it's
sucks.
completely natural. Half the population get periods, so I think it's something we need to talk about more openly and accept. Also, using blue liquid in, like, pad commercials is not helpful.
No, it's not. I think well, the whole industry, everything about the industry from pads and tampons and birth control is it's created by men and it's designed to I think make men more comfortable. Like why
Mhm.
do we have scented tampons? Why?
Who
Why? That
is
can't
that
be good
for?
for us. Yeah, exactly. Like did you want lemon or lime flavor? God.
I'm having a very citrusy period this time.
My periods often are like they're sparkly and I use those pens for women when I'm on it to feel even more feminine.
But yeah, there's also these like adverts that I'd never really thought of before, but like, you know how like it'll be an advert for a tampon and it's like, look all the amazing things you can do now that you use these tampons when you're on your
Mhm.
period. Like, but all
Mhm.
that's actually doing is like putting pressure on women to push through the pain and the feeling uncomfortable and feeling gross. Like, I don't know if you've seen any of the videos of men trying these period
Yeah.
pain simulators.
Like the yeah,
Yeah,
I have.
it's like, guys, we have that for a week and we just get on with shit.
Sometimes longer,
Mm,
sometimes more than once a month, depending
yeah.
on like I mean, because there's so I think we're gonna save a lot of this conversation for next time or another podcast. But like, there's so many methods of birth control out there that are supposed to like stop you from getting your period,
Hmm.
for a significant amount of time. And like, I'm just a special someone who those don't work for. In fact, it's like twice as much.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just, yeah, it
Poor
sucks because
thing.
it's just like, yeah, it's a bitch. Um, and also, like, people have to get on birth control because of how bad it is for them or, like, I incapacitating cramps. And I don't know about you, but when I was in school, like, the first day, I often had to stay home. So
Yeah, I remember one time where, I mean, I'm quite lucky. I do get cramps and backache and period pains, but it's usually like the first couple of days and then it subsides.
yeah.
But I
Mhm.
remember one time it being so bad that I couldn't move from a fetal position. I
Mhm.
just genuinely couldn't move.
Same.
Um, but yeah, it's never know what you're gonna get. I'm very irregular. Sometimes
Me
I'll have like
too.
2 week periods, and I'm like, is this ever going to end, or am I just going to bleed
Same.
forever? Like,
Same. And, like, the fact that it's like, so what? Am I just supposed to, like, constantly just wear a tampon or use a pad, like, just in case? Like, because it's just like,
yeah,
"Surprise, I'm back. You thought I was
yeah,
gone, but I'm back, girl. Give you a couple days. Here I am. Ba-doop
yeah,
boop, bah." Yeah, it sucks.
yeah. Well, yeah, we'll talk about contraception another
Women's
time.
health. Yeah.
Mm.
Another day. Good talk.
Yeah, I enjoyed today.
Me too.
Not that I don't enjoy it every time, but
Good. Because that's how I perceived that, and I was offended.
Well,
Well, I hope you have a good week. And I think quickly, like everyone has heard, I think at least once now, if not more, check us out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Talking Shit with the Ink and a Brit, TSWAYAB. I forgot something. I, I really did not think that acronym through. To swab, you'll find us.
to Swab. And on Instagram, it's to Swab_pod.
There you go.
And you can also email us at talkshittous@gmail.com. Give us a like, rate, subscribe, and
Follow,
follow.
compliment.
And thank you for listening.
Have a good week.
And you. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
G-Bag. Remember when I was telling you the other day about how it's hard for me to leave my home because I don't want to leave my blender?
Yeah, your emotional support blender, you called it, which I thought was weird and maybe a little problematic.
I said it feels like my emotional support blender because of how many smoothies I make and how good I feel these days because of them.
Okay, go on.
Well, I found something the other day that may solve my problem.
Oh, tell me more.
I discovered this thing called BlendJet 2. It's a portable blender that you can use basically anywhere or anytime.
Seems messy.
I know, but it doesn't look like it is. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach.
More like a margarita at work, know what I'm saying?
Or that, but it's also small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house, and it lasts 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. So, not messy at all, I don't think.
Okay, I'm intrigued. And now I want a margarita.
Me too. It looks like there's tons of different styles and colors, so you can have a margarita BlendJet for work, a protein BlendJet for the car, and a...
Soup blend jet for the forest?
Sure.
Oh, I want the camo one because I am a certified badass.
Just don't lose it in the woods.
Okay, so what are we waiting for? These look awesome.
I know. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code TSPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. BlendJet feels so strongly that no other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They'll guarantee you love it or your money back.
Gotta love the confidence and the ability to blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code TSPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping.
Shop today and get the best deal ever. I'll cheers you with our BlendJet margaritas next time I see you.
Brilliant. Cheers.